down in there! Pipe down in there! Pipe down in there! Pipe down in there! Girls in white dresses with blue satin sashes, snowflakes that stay on my nose and eyelashes, silver white winters that melt into spring. These are a few of my favorite things. Now listen up.
Welcome back to the Festivus Series, where we cover all of your favorite Christmas movies, including Jingle All the Way, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4, Lethal Weapon, and more. Tune in all holiday season to listen to your favorite movies covered on Blood and Black Rum Podcast. Hey guys, welcome back to Blood and Black Rum Podcast. I'm Ryan from Coldsploitation.com, and I'm joined with my happy little elf, Martin, over here.
I resent that.
Nah, you're not an elf.
I resent the happy part.
Oh, yeah. No, I get you. You're always miserable. That's your shtick on the show.
He's gotta be somebody.
That's right.
Nobody.
I'm always happy-go-lucky. You're sort of more like the, I didn't like it. I'm always like, I find the good in everything. There's just something good about this movie. Even when we did, I don't know, what was one of the worst movies that we've done?
Dutch.
No! Get out of here. I watch that one every year. One of the worst movies we've done. Not one of the best movies we've done. One of the worst movies we've done. What was one? I don't know.
Well, negativity sells. Nobody wants to...
No, I'm actually struggling to figure out what the worst movie was that we did.
On our show?
Yeah.
It might be Mako still.
Yeah, it could be.
But that was so bad. That was so bad. We didn't really have much to say about it because, what can you say about a film that was shot on a
VHS tape?
No, not even 1880s.
Yeah.
Look at this new thing we got here.
That was a tough one, but you can always pretty much find some positive in everything. And the positive is right now that even though we're recording, actually, when this episode comes out, it'll still be November, the end of November. We're starting our Christmas season early.
It's after Thanksgiving, so it's not...
Yeah, for you, that's a technicality that makes it okay, right? It has to be after Thanksgiving.
I'm fine with people starting to get into the Christmas spirit once you're done eating Thanksgiving dinner.
You pop on the Christmas music.
You go right ahead and start, putting your tree up and getting ready. No. Like your sister, like middle of October, I'm going to put on some Groban! No.
Yeah,
fuck her.
A little too much.
Yeah, no. Fuck her.
Well, we're starting, I guess, earlier than we normally do. And that's because when you think about, generally, you don't get a month of Christmas in December. You get 25 days. And so we have to start a little bit early to cram all 4 of the episodes that we want to do in. And so we're starting in November. And I think even still we're going to come close. It's going to be close to getting all these episodes in. But
it'll probably be one after Christmas, but who cares?
It's tough, yeah. And we might save that one for the only marginally Christmas movie. You know what I mean? The one that we're doing, Lethal Weapon. That's only marginally Christmassy. So we might save that till after.
I was thinking this movie.
What?
This isn't a Christmas movie. It's a toy commercial.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're
for a non-existent toy.
We're obviously talking about Jingle All the Way, the basically 90-minute Christmas film about a guy who completely forgets about that he has a kid, for one thing.
Well, as last week when we not last week, well, 2 weeks ago when we did Dutch, and I called it a very poor man's Planes, Trains, and Automobiles and Home Alone. Jingle All the Way is a very poor man's every fucking mid-90s sitcom about a father trying to win his family back, like Liar, Liar.
Mm.
And the big one that this one apes from, the Santa Claus.
For sure.
2
years after the fact. Santa Claus in 1994, Jingle All the Way in 1996.
So, this also has a little Back to the Future in it too, with its musical whimsy and font.
Yeah.
That Paul, as I told you, again, Verhoeven's going to rip that off in a year for Starship Troopers.
Yeah. But you're right. This is Jingle All the Way is a movie that, it's set during Christmas time, but it is just like all those other 90s films of dad's working, He's always working. He's got such an important job.
Which again, I'm going to be a meninist here. I take offense to that. Really, you're pissed off that he's working too much?
That he's making that money so that you can afford Christmas gifts?
Like, come on. Out of all, like, you can be mad that he's neglectful, but like, again, like with Liar Liar, it makes sense. He's a piece of shit. You know, Jim Carrey's a piece of shit. You know,
True.
He's not there for his son, but he's a piece of shit. He's cheating on his wife.
Yeah.
You know, he lies all the time. Okay. Same thing with the Santa Claus. Tim Allen, he's divorced from his wife. Why? Because she knew he's a piece of shit. Miserable piece of shit. Here, Howard, played by Arnold Schwarzenegger. Again, another great name for Arnold Schwarzenegger. He doesn't even really... he just works hard. That's it. That's it. That's his claim to fame. A trope that's usually assigned to those characters, you know, being neglectful fathers. Okay, fine. But again, it makes sense, because in Santa Claus, Tim Allen doesn't really want to spend time with his kid. He doesn't really fucking care.
That's true.
He's got his work, his job, and he wants to stay away from his ex-wife because he thinks she's a total bitch. Yeah. And he hates Judge Reinhold.
And actually, in the Santa Claus as well, he's like at an office Christmas party too. It's not even something like he's working at that point.
Yeah.
He's like literally just at a extracurricular activity at work.
And then in Liar Liar, again, like I said, Jim Carrey's a piece of shit. He cheats on his wife. He sleeps with his boss. Lies to his family all the time, blah, blah, blah. But he also is a dedicated, hardworking lawyer. Cheats to get there, but, he is that. Here, Arnold Schwarzenegger, they do have the Christmas party scene, like everyone's partying, but Arnold Schwarzenegger's upstairs in his office working.
He's getting that work
making
done.
sales,
Yeah, that's right.
So his one fault is he's neglectful because he's actually just fucking working.
Yeah.
Which, that to me is the problem. I don't, again... I was joking about the whole meniness thing, but again, it's like, could be a little bit more understand. Like, when it comes to this, like, it doesn't make as much sense with like the Santa Claus and Liar Liar, because they're not good people to begin with. Here, Arnold Schwarzenegger's one character flaw is he's just at work too much, because they don't dive into like what other things is he doing. Is he cheating on his wife too? Is he hate his family?
That's true. You got to appreciate the '90s sentiment that. Trying to get fathers back home, hang out with their sons and daughters, just really trying to make those men a little bit better, well-rounded people. Now, I don't know, have we progressed from that, from the 90s of trying to make, dads understand the error of their ways and come back home, or have we just we don't care anymore? We moved on from that?
Well, all I know is my mom worked 2 fucking jobs, and my dad worked all the time too, so.
I feel like
it was mainly my older sister watching us, and,
I feel like we've moved on from these types of movies too, because, the dads in these are not, like, super relatable. In Santa Claus, obviously he's got a really good job. In Jingle All the Way, really great job. Yeah, now we have sort of, like, working class people, like, if you think about the TV show The Middle, of people who are really working class and just struggling to get by. We don't generally have these movies now where like people are like super well off, and it's hard for the average movie going person to relate to like somebody like, yeah, I just make so much money, but I got to work all the time. Like that's not as relatable as a more middle class. But
Arnold
job.
Schwarzenegger drives a GMC SUV, okay? GMC. He's driving a Jimmy. He's not driving a Range Rover. He's driving a Jimmy, even though he's got his nice OJ brown leather gloves on.
He's got those gloves on. He's got a nice silky scarf on.
And, nice, nice. That's why I laughed when Sinbad had the audacity to call him a working man.
Well, you know what? He is a
working man, but
we don't know his background in Jingle All the Way, but this is, again, an Austrian man who has made his way to the American dream. And we can't judge him for that. In Jingle All the Way, we don't know the context of how he grew up and became this person who sells, what does he sell? Like clothes? Is it clothing line? Something like that? Movie doesn't really spend that much time on it. Just shows him taking phone calls and making tons of sales,
And he's telling them all, you're my number one customer. He even says it to his wife.
I think they're like a clothing brand, or maybe he's a dry cleaner, runs a dry cleaning business. I don't know. But he does something with clothes, I think. And yeah, I just feel like, in Jingle All the Way, again, watching now, Howard and his family are a little difficult to relate to. They live in this fucking Wonderland cul-de-sac of single moms and
dads.
And Phil Hartman, who in my world still lives in that cul-de-sac in Jingle All the Way, and is not unfortunately deceased.
If he didn't die, because that, as you said, that cul-de-sac looks very awfully familiar to the one with Christmas with the Cranks.
It does. It's very familiar.
He might, instead of Dan Aykroyd playing that role, that could, just imagine that being Phil Hartman.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I mean, the only one downside would be is like the best part of Christmas with the Cranks is when Dan Aykroyd's going full-blown Canadian, going free, Frosty, free,
Phil Hartman can do that in his own way, like in Jingle All the Way, where he has that.
No, I mean, one of Phil Hartman's great qualities is his very distinct voice and like how just like hello there, very suave. It comes off as. But like I said, one of the best parts of Jingle All the Way, I mean not Jingle All the Way, Christmas with the Cranks is when Mr. Canada himself, whose accent has, been pretty buried over the years, but like in that one scene, like free, his accent's bleeding and it's
true.
It just makes it, really hilarious, at least to me. But
all right, let's take a quick break. We'll talk about our beer that we have on the show today. I believe we've had it on the show before, but that's okay. We're gonna cover it again because it's a nice holiday beer for the episode, festive season. And we're talking about, we have the Saranac Big Moose Winter Ale on today's show. And I don't know if we covered it like in depth before, because I know it was in a pack and we might have covered some of the other newer beers in the pack besides the Big Moose Winter Ale. Can't really remember. But this is a beer that I think has always stuck out to me as being like kind of questionable as what they call a winter ale.
They never used to.
Yeah.
It used to just be called Big, because I remember, I do remember talking about, because I remember saying when I first had it, I really liked it. Mm-hmm. It was something, I still do really like this beer. I think actually it's something they could do all year round, like a more, because it does have the in-between quality of a pale ale and an IPA, kind of a little bit hovering towards like an ESB, even though as much as we both like ESBs in their own right are kind of a weird topic, because technically pale ales and IPAs are ESBs. It all depends on who you're talking to on what they are. But anywho, in the sense that we kind of define an ESB as, like, this kind of fits the mold, because it's hoppier than a pale ale, but got more multi-quality to it than an IPA. Mm-hmm. So it's a big, hoppy, well-bodied beer. Mm-hmm. I really like it. I would not consider it a winter beer, though. I'd consider it an all-season beer.
Right.
It's crisp and refreshing enough to drink like on a summer or spring day, but also heavy enough to be enjoyed on a winter and fall day. That's why I think, it's all seasonal. I really like it. And that's why I picked it up, because I almost got something different, new for us to try. Because I think I mentioned it before on the show. Around here, we haven't really had Great Lakes Brewing before, but past couple of months, we've been getting a lot of their stuff, which they're based out in Cleveland. And I thought about getting their winter ale, their Christmas ale, to fit the seasonal mood, but as soon as I saw honey flavors on the six-pack, I kind of shied away from it. 'Cause, it very well could be good, but right now I wanted to go something kind of safe.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that the Big Moose Winter Ale is pretty good. It's sort of like in that same style as the Sierra Nevada's IPA that they put out for the holiday season.
The Holiday Haze?
No, not that one. They normally put out the Celebration Ale as well, and that's another IPA. And it's like, I don't tend to think of these beers as like winter style ales, but at the same time, I do appreciate that, you can also have a pale ale or an IPA.
I can almost see though for
season.
the West Coast, so the Celebration Ale would be more something like, because they don't get fucking
right. Exactly. Yeah, I do understand that. Thinking in terms of like winter in different areas, that makes more sense. For Big Moose Winter Ale, I think it's really good. I think it does have that sort of like hoppiness to it that puts it closer to IPA territory. This is triple hopped with the Amarillo hops. It's on the hoppier end. One thing that I do wish that it would do is maybe be a little bit drier, so that it's more adhering to the English, the ESB style, because this does have English hops in it, and I do think that this is intended to be sort of like a pale ale / ESB hybrid.
It's got to me. I do like the nice, like the maltiness to it is very sweet, like almost like kind of like a sugary sweet. And I actually I actually do like how that kind of pairs. And And I'm someone who really doesn't like super sweet things, because to me, just like, if I see like a Twinkie, I'm like, oh, it smells like diabetes. Or Mountain Dew, like, oh, it smells like diabetes. Here, I actually kind of like how that pairs with the hoppiness, kind of like a nice mix. Like I said, I really like it, but it's not something I'd consider wintry, besides the fact that they got a nice bull moose with a Christmas hat on there.
Santa hat.
Yeah. Been looking for one Red Dead 2 to fucking outfit my camp, but I can't find one, and it's starting to piss me off. Yeah. If you haven't played yet, what are you waiting for? Get the game of the century.
That's true.
Red Dead Redemption 2. I'm not paid by Rockstar. I'm just a big fan.
Yeah, so for Saranac's Big Moose, check it out if you have it around in your area. It's available in 6-packs. They put them out.
And in the variety pack.
Yeah, and in the winter pack and the variety pack. And as a regular 6-pack. They put them both out. So check it out. They should be out in your area at some point, hopefully, depending on where you live, because sometimes they don't get out that far. So sometimes I don't know how far they export. Do you?
No, but I mean, some of the stuff's kind of scattershot. I know, like Genesee, like they do like Louisiana, but they don't do like in like Florida, but they don't do like Alabama or some shit. I mean, it all depends.
Interesting.
I think it all like with. Because with the each state has like different laws,
right?
For alcohol,
where you can, how you can get alcohol.
So it all depends. Like so.
Interesting. All right, good to know.
Before we get into the movie, I do want to bring up the death of Steve Hillenburg, which Ryan unfortunately texted to me yesterday. I didn't believe him. In fact, I didn't even know he had ALS. I didn't know that was news. I knew for quite a few years he hasn't been working on SpongeBob as a main proponent. He's just kind of been like an executive producer, but that really bummed me out.
Yeah.
I love SpongeBob.
Yeah.
And I one of the jokes, and Ryan will tell you, is one of the things I like say to other people is like, oh, you're not old enough to remember good SpongeBob. Because it did, after like his direction he started getting less involved in the show.
Yeah.
It did take a drop. And to be honest with you, that's to be expected. Not a lot of shows after a couple of seasons have a certain quality about it. I mean, obviously the main ones like The Simpsons.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like so.
After Matt Groening's involvement got, less and less. But same thing with like kind of SpongeBob. I always joked around about like, oh, you're not even old enough to remember good SpongeBob, the first like 100 episodes. But not even that though. I'm a huge Rocko's Modern Life fan, and I don't think a lot of people realize he was one of the head writers for Rocko's Modern Life, and one of the writers and voice actors for SpongeBob that also came over from there was Mr. Lawrence. He was also really involved in Rocko's Modern Life, and it just really bummed me out because I really liked his work.
Yeah, only 57 years old.
Our friend, Matt, me and him, half our friendship is just based on like quoting SpongeBob incessantly.
Yeah.
In inappropriate situations. So I mean, that's just really sad to hear. And
yeah, for sure. Yeah, it's unfortunate that he didn't get more time to work on, a different project or something that he could bring his like basically very specific style of humor. The one that you recognize, as being somewhat his own from SpongeBob. A lot of people like to say, like, for Steve Hillenburg's run on SpongeBob, that it was both like sort of like SpongeBob was touching in its own way because SpongeBob is such a naive character sometimes, bringing like sort of light to otherwise, miserable people like Squidward. But then also, it was very funny for not only children but adults as well, because there was always those little hidden jokes and things like that kids wouldn't really catch. They fly right over.
It's the same thing with Rocko. Rocko's, when very naive. I would say the difference between the two shows is Rocko's more surrealist, has that 90s cartoon style of being really surreal with its humor and surreal art style. But Rocko has that same naivete, that's
right.
That SpongeBob has, and a lot of the characters, and voice actors, again, like a lot of the same people that worked on excuse me again, Rocco also worked on, SpongeBob,
Right.
Tom Kenny voiced Heifer. He voices, SpongeBob. Mr. Lawrence voiced Filbert. He was also the voice of Plankton on SpongeBob, so.
Yeah, very sad news.
I would have liked to seen him, because I know for a couple of years, Joe Murray's been planning a reboot. I don't know if it's going to be a one-off or not, but he made that trailer a couple of years ago of Rocco the Reboot. That was hilarious, and it would have been nice to see, kind of see if, like, Stephen Hillenburg had any, like, work on that, worked any bit on that, so.
Yeah, for sure.
Sad to hear.
Yep. Very much so. All right. Let's get into Jingle All the Way. So, Jingle All the Way, for me, has been a movie that I've watched, fairly consistently throughout the years. I try to watch it every year. Looking back on it, it's not one of the better holiday movies out there for Christmas movies. But watching it today was actually quite a bit of fun because it's pretty easy to poke fun at Jingle All the Way and things that happen in it. And especially now, currently, looking back on a film that was, done in 1996 with a lot of very dated references within it. Sinbad references Rodney King in this one, which is, if you're watching this on television, like, when they do a syndicated broadcast of it, most of those children watching Jingle All the Way nowadays are probably not going to understand.
I'm sure even in 1996, a lot of kids would not
true
understand. Hell, we're old enough to the point where technically we lived through Rodney King, but we're not old enough to remember and know a damn thing about it because that was 92 when that happened.
Yeah.
So we would have been
like 3 years old.
Yeah, we would have been 3 years old. But being older, get the reference, but again, it's like, that's something, kind of something that was like a big thing in the early 90s that's kind of faded away. It's almost like now, like, I think, like, when, like, The People versus O.J. Simpson came out,
yep.
I think, like, for, like, people who lived through the O.J. trial were, like, oh, wow, I remember that. But, like, a lot of people who are probably younger, like, what's the big deal about that?
Yeah. Yeah.
What's the... Because it's, as big as it was at the time, like,
right, kind of faded out, and OJ took precedence, as like the big thing of the time of the 90s.
Like, do people remember? Like, unless they're like a little bit like our age or older, do they remember Tim Meadows doing the constant OJ bit on on SNL of being like, oh, I'm gonna find the murderer of my wife, OJ, why are you holding that glove there? What? That's not. And the same thing with Norm Macdonald for his weekly update. Every joke's literally about OJ. I don't think people, again, I think like people, a lot of younger people are gonna totally not get it because it's something that as big as it was at the time, completely gone,
I think, like, Jingle All the Way, more so than a lot of the other holiday movies, maybe excluding Home Alone a little bit, is the one that really has a lot of dated references, though. You think about the Santa Claus. Santa Claus is really not dependent on, like, the time period. Besides a couple things, like the haircuts and...
and the dressing, you can tell by Judge Reinhold and his wife's outfits. So, that's nice.
That one is really not so dependent on... like
knowing pop culture,
current events. Jingle All the Way is fairly dependent on it. So not like it's probably hard now when people are watching this film didn't really live through the 90s and maybe even the early 2000s to think about like the mad rush for certain toys at that time. Now it's like, I'm going to go on Amazon and order it, and it's probably not going to be sold out because people make a lot of these toys now. Well, there's wide dispersal of toys.
Well, it's like the same thing. Like, remember like back like when like the 64 and the PlayStation 2, like, gotta get it, might be sold out. Like,
exactly.
You won't be able to get it for like 6 months. Manufacturers are shitting out. Like, they know, like, if you think when the next PlayStation comes out, Sony, of Japan and America aren't going to have their shit, figured out to make sure there's enough on the shelf.
The only thing is, Nintendo really hasn't learned their lesson yet.
Well, because see that Nintendo's still the firm Japanese company where they're like
outlier.
Well, because they're still like, we don't really need other worlds. We like Japanese money. Yeah. It's kind of like how anime, like Gundam and stuff, when it like came to release it, like, well, you can remember from watching, the Gundams that came on Toonami. After they did Gundam Wing, Toonami wanted like After War and G Gundam, newer stuff, like because fans are going to relate to it. Which Bandai of Japan said, we're going to give you the original Gundam. That's like 25 years old.
Yeah,
a lot of people are going to like that. People in Japan like that.
Yeah, yeah.
And then when they put it on Toonami, I was like the one kid who actually watched it, and they're like, "Why is nobody watching this?"
Yep.
So they're still stuck in their way.
But I think with like Jingle All the Way, you have the whole mad rush to get this one key toy, the one thing everybody wants.
And every year in the 90s, you could like Tickle Me Elmo one year, Furbies.
Yep. Tamagotchis. There was always a thing back in the 90s, in the early 2000s, where you would have this one item that was just the hot ticket. And now I think that there's been so much dispersal of like people's interests, and there's better logistics out there and analytics to say like, well, this is probably going to be a hot ticket item. So we'll make, instead of making 3,000 that'll go quickly and, then we don't make any money off this. Yeah. We'll make a whole shit ton of them because, we'll make so much money off of this that it makes sense to make as many as possible.
Yeah, it's basic, it's literally basic supply and demand.
Yeah.
If, like, you think that you estimate where the demand's going to be, you pump the supply out.
Exactly, exactly. And this one, in Jingle All the Way, you definitely have to have experienced maybe a little bit the rush of like thinking like, oh shit, you know what? I might not be able to get that thing for Christmas. And I feel like it might be harder for like newer audiences to relate to this story. I mean, obviously you can get it. Like, you get the idea that he fucked up for Christmas and it's Christmas Eve and he can't find this doll. But to really understand the context, you sort of had to have lived through that time where it was like you actually experienced something where it was super difficult to get a toy or something like that.
Your wife's got the divorce papers ready. If your son's having a shitty Christmas because,
yeah,
he didn't get his goddamn knockoff Power Rangers doll.
The funny thing about this is you talked a little bit about Arnold Schwarzenegger not really being like the worst dad in the case of like 90s dads where everybody was sort of a shitty dad in the 90s. And they have to find the error of their ways and fix it. In Jingle All the Way, it probably Howard's worst mistake in this movie is that he doesn't even recognize the name Turbo Man. Like, it's been said to him, his kid watches the show over and over again.
But again, like, that's something I could see, like, your dad, like being like...
I don't think so, because Howard's wife even asks.
Same thing with, like, my dad. I could see, like in parents, I could see, like, totally see, like, them being like, here you go, I got you this. And like, oh, that's not what I wanted. Oh, I thought that's what you wanted. Oh, well,
I don't know, because he's reminded, like, that his wife said it to him a week ago, and he doesn't even, like, the name doesn't even ring a bell. And I think that's probably his biggest mistake, is that he doesn't recognize that this is, like, the main thing that his kid has wanted and loved for, like, over, I don't know, however long kids like things for. Maybe it's been 6 months, maybe it's been a year, who knows, but that he doesn't even recognize the name of it. That's the definition of an absent parent, I guess, is that, like, you didn't even know, like, anything that your kid likes whatsoever.
Well, no, I agree. He is neglectful because by being at work, he doesn't know what his son's interested in and shit, and he misses, like, the events and stuff like that, his son wanted him to be at. So yeah, that's not good, but at the same time, I'm saying, like, out of all, like, again, using the Santa Claus and, like, Liar Liars examples, Howard's by far the father of the year, because he's neglectful because the fact he's just at work all the time. He's a workaholic.
Yeah.
Oh no, again,
right, exactly. How is the family paying for little Jamie's karate lessons? Well, it's Howard going to work. Yeah. That's what. So in theory, he was at Jamie's karate lessons because he paid for all of them, I guess, right? So yeah, I don't think he's a bad dad. But I think the weird thing about Jingle All the Way is that the whole theme, the whole message of Jingle All the Way, for the most part, even up until the end, is that it's okay if you forgot your kid's Christmas present. It's okay if you're just not that present in your kid's life. As long as you can come through heroically in some way, it'll all be better. So, really go the distance, become that hero, and do something super drastic, pretty dangerous to your kid, and everything will be okay. Jingle All the Way doesn't have a great message at the end of its film. Like, everything
because he forgets his wife's present too.
Well, everything is forgiven with what Howard has done, and he really hasn't made much in the way of like trying to change that. We don't see like him saying like, okay, you know what? I'm not going to work as much anymore. I'm going to take some time and really stay with my family.
Nobody does say like I got to pay more attention to them. But...
Sort of.
Yeah, but it
would be interesting to see like January 15th after the Christmas rush and like, nope, Howard's back at work.
I know.
He hasn't been home for 3 days.
Yeah, instead of seeing him like, not now, Janice. I got to, I got to run home to my family.
Yeah.
That sale can wait.
Like Jingle All the Way ends before Christmas even occurs. So we don't see like any,
this is the longest Christmas Eve ever.
Yeah, that's true. We think that Howard's changed, and the theme is basically like, you know what? Howard committed some crimes. There was a fake bomb threat called in. He routinely harassed a police officer.
And assaulted people.
And assaulted a mailman. Opened up mail.
Assaulted a radio host. Assaulted...
Federal
greeters at a toy store,
committed a federal crime by opening somebody else's mail. He's done a whole bunch of shit, but you know what? Because he was played a character in a parade, a Christmas parade, and he ended up saving the day by getting a Turbo Man and proving that he could do that. It's all good. And his wife saw him in spandex, and so she was just, forgot everything else. Oh, Howard! Oh! Yeah. She forgot everything else. And also, she has to compare Howard now to Phil Hartman, the nice guy. So he looks a lot better in her eyes now.
Not so nice, though.
Exactly. No, that's the term, the nice guy in quotation marks. The guy who's doing everything basically just to get in people's pants.
Yeah, the internet guy. I don't understand why girls don't like me. I'm nice. I'm the nice guy.
I made cookies. Yep. But
Apparently he's doing well though.
That's true. Apparently he is.
Or is he just giving them? Is he just blue flapping all these women? Just.
He's not interested in any of those people.
He wants to marry one.
Yeah, that's right.
He's going big game hunting.
He's only interested in Liz. But I
C-rate Jennifer Aniston.
It's true. I don't know who Rita Wilson. She doesn't ring a bell to me. I don't know that I've seen her in much else. But like I said, the theme of Jingle All the Way is just really kind of awkward because most Christmas movies there's like this. If you think about like Home Alone being one of the, it's somewhat sappy, but it has a really good. It does have a really good ending to the film in that
be nice to the old man with the shovel.
Well, yeah, that's true. But also, just accept the people that are in your life, and be good to them because that's really all you have. In Jingle All the Way, it's like everything's gonna be okay because consumerism. You know what? It's Christmas. And the kid had to have the expensive great doll, so we got him the great doll, and everything's good. What would have been better is if Howard completely failed, and Jamie was like, Dad, because you tried.
He's such an ungrateful little shit, though.
That is true. Jamie is the worst kid.
And granted, as a 7-year-old is, or whatever, however the fuck old he is, 7-year-old isn't an ungrateful little shit.
I agree, though. Jamie is awful in this film.
Jake Lloyd will never be forgiven.
I know you don't forgive him. I know,
the Phantom Menace.
I don't forgive him for this goatee mustache combo he's got going on IMDb, but
looks like he's trying out for a Creed cover band.
Yeah, I don't forgive him for that. But you, on the other hand, don't forgive him for being Anakin.
Well, in the first episode.
In the first episode.
None of the prequels were ever going to be good. Hell, even Liam Neeson's terrible in The Phantom Menace. But,
True.
It's just, again, like, you can see how terrible is it. Really, Dad?
Yeah.
What do I want? I want the Turbo Man with the full action figure and the not sold. Stop. No, stop.
Yeah, Jake Lloyd's pretty bad in this film. He's really not good.
And that is why you did not get the Sixth Sense role. Did you try out for it? I don't fucking know. But you know what?
But like, and then when you put Jake Lloyd and Arnold Schwarzenegger together, it's a terrible combo. It's horrible. Arnold doesn't know how to talk to kids, even though he was in Kindergarten Cop.
Well, he couldn't talk to kids in that either.
It's true. And like those occurrences where Jake and Arnold have to share scenes are some of the worst because they're just forced.
Who fucked Liz to make that kid?
Yeah,
he didn't. Maybe that's what.
He's got to grow into his muscle.
Maybe that's why Phil Hartman's chasing him, because one drunk night, Liz was drunk coming home from the party.
He wants to.
And he already fucked her.
No, and he wants to help raise Jake.
Because he's his father, you know.
Jamie,
So.
Possibly.
Because, I mean, that's why I laugh, because, like, when you have all these movies now, like, with Arnold, and, like, you get his name, like, he's Howard. What's his last name?
Howard Langston.
Yeah, Howard Langston, and, like, in Kindergarten Cop, he's Detective John Kimball.
Just not really highlighting his Austrian roots there.
He even mentions in Kindergarten Cop that he's from Austria.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I remember, like, in the one scene when he's talking about, like, how he wanted to be a gym teacher or some shit. I don't know, but I remember he mentioned if he's from Austria or something. So it's like, yeah, it's like, oh, I was born in Vienna, John Kimball. Okay. So, yeah. But it's the same thing here. It's like, oh, Howard Langston, where are you from? St. Paul, Minnesota.
Yeah. One of my favorite.
Why isn't he walking around like with like a Minnesotan like him basically going like, there's a moose loose about the hoose?
That's because Arnold can't do a Minnesotan accent.
I'm sure he could if you like wanted to try.
He tried.
I read somewhere recently he actually kept a speech therapy coach.
Oh yeah,
to keep his accent because he's like, why would I want to sound like regular people?
Oh, that's true.
Part of my shtick is how he sounds.
That's who he is.
Because I mean, if you think about it, it makes sense. He's been living in America for 40 years now.
Sure. Some people don't always get rid of their accents, but
his is still really thick.
Right. Yeah.
Like, it's not, like, dulled down at all. I mean, his English has always been pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's more like, yes, that would make sense to me, with the money and stuff that he's made.
One thing that I really like in Jingle All the Way that doesn't make any sense is after,
Why Martin Lawrence is in this instead of Sinbad?
No. No, but why, like, no one recognizes that Turbo Man is Arnold Schwarzenegger in this film.
Because they're stupid.
Yeah, exactly. Like, literally, his wife, Liz, is standing right in front of him.
Who's this big, hulking Austrian man going, Jamie! Jamie!
I don't understand. Was it scripted? How did he know? It's so funny because...
Didn't you love the cop, too, when, like, Jamie is running away and she's, like, running around, Jamie! And the cop's like, oh, don't worry, ma'am.
It's great. It's part of the script.
That's part of the show, don't you know?
Yeah, that one was the one person who has the Minnesotan accent in it. No one else does.
Yeah, nice and thick.
Yeah.
Billy Bob Thornton used that for his inspiration for Fargo.
It's true. One thing that we don't, that I would say, like, actually makes this film work a little bit better is that at least it's entertaining. There's, like, so much shit going on in this film. It's, you have...
It's not well thought out, but
as you said, this Christmas Eve fucking lasts forever. This is, like... an entire day's worth of Christmas Eve that happens in like 6 hours.
And it doesn't make sense. Because again, like the first time he's at the store doesn't open until 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Which again, sign of the 90s. Store opening up at fucking...
Christmas Eve at 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock. Yeah. Fucking ridiculous.
No way.
And then, again, who the hell has a Christmas parade on Christmas Eve?
Terrible idea. Now everybody's out, and we don't know, like, what time could the Christmas parade could possibly happen?
Because there's still daylight.
Exactly.
And at the time, around here, the sun sets at like 2 o'clock then. So
the timeline's all fucked up. If Howard couldn't have gotten into the mall until 9 o'clock, and then he goes
to like a bunch of... Because we have that nice noir style, like... Toys, like sign montage. And all they need is like, like a nice little Casablanca, like trumpet playing.
Yeah.
Out of all the toy stores,
He was like, I was looking for the Turbo Man doll, but I couldn't find one.
Yeah.
Then I saw her. Across the room.
But, so it's like in 5 hours he hit like every fucking toy store in St. Paul and Minneapolis.
He went to the Mall of America
and couldn't fucking
find the doll. The Mall of America. If you can't find the doll in the Mall of America.
Was this movie produced by the Mall of America?
I don't know. Yeah, you're right. Like, the Mall of America is like it's the fucking largest mall.
That's why it's called the Mall of America.
First of all, what are we supposed to assume that he first got a parking spot? Because that could be like an entire day in itself at the Mall of America, just finding a parking spot. But then traipsed around the biggest mall.
Which, by the way, that does remind me of the Rocco episode where they go to the mall.
Oh yeah,
and they can't find a fucking parking spot, and so they have to park on like the highest parking level, which is in outer space. And as they're walking down, you see the 30-year-old man walking around with a shirt that's like way above his belly button, holding a lollipop, and like the old school double cap with the little thing. He's like, "Mommy, where's my mommy? We're looking for my mommy for 20 years."
Yeah.
So that ties back to Steve Hillenburg.
But I mean, like, the whole thing.
But yeah, no, you're totally right.
There's no way that he would have gotten that done.
Especially
going to the mall.
Especially on Christmas Eve.
Yeah. Just going to the mall in that time. Not gonna happen.
Well, it's the same thing with Phil Hartman in the fucking parade. Like, just driving down Main Street, find that parking spot,
Yeah.
With no trouble at all.
The film never really seems to understand, like, okay, so they live in the suburbs of a somewhat major city. I'm assuming, I've never been to the Mall of America. I'm assuming it's in the city. I think it's probably in a big city. It would make sense, right? You can't have the fucking largest mall.
Is it in Minneapolis or St. Paul?
I'm not sure. I'll look it up right now. It is in Bloomington, Minnesota.
So probably right outside of Minnesota, Minneapolis.
It's got to be pretty big, right? And so you have, like, this. The film never really seems to understand, like, this is a fucking Macy's Day Parade style, like, with floats.
They got Sonic the Hedgehog.
They got police officers jumping on trampolines.
I was say in his prime, too. They got Sonic the Hedgehog right after that lock-on technology for Sonic and Knuckles and Sonic 3 to combine together into one majestic, beautiful game.
They got Crayola crayons in
They got the Tick.
Yeah, the Tick is there, yeah. The other big superhero of the time.
Where's the other Fox Saturday morning cartoon hero there? Louie!
Yeah.
Louie Anderson cartoon. That's digging deep, children.
But I don't, like, the film never really seems to understand, like, is this a suburb? Is this a giant city?
Well, no, he lives in the suburbs, but you see him driving into the city. That's why I said, like, the length of time for him getting all this shit done is ridiculous. So he goes from his suburb, so whatever the suburb of...
however long it takes to drive
of Minneapolis or St. Paul, whatever. And he's constantly crossing the bridge, so he's bouncing back and forth from both cities. So, goes to one store that opens up at fucking 9... Then hits all the other stores in the area, because again, I've got that nice fucking noir style to it. All this thing was missing was like the old school, like 1930s, like Indiana Jones style, like globe trotting with like a map and going around. And then he gets to the Mall of America, because he wasn't there first.
Right.
Gets to the Mall of America, runs into James Belushi. Not Jim. James Belushi.
James in this one.
James Belushi. And, in his illegal operation.
Yeah, he drives there for 20 minutes. Because it was at least a 20-minute drive to get to the warehouse. Because he says it. He said, we've been driving for 20 minutes. So,
which in city time, that's not that,
Right, yeah, that's not that
in
long.
New York City, in 20 minutes, you'll get from one light to the,
Especially on New Year's, or on Christmas Eve. That's like nothing. I'm sure that everybody's out on Christmas Eve. And we've seen it because literally
the parade's
this parade, everybody had forgotten to get a Turbo Man doll. And so you get to the mall Santas, that gets busted by police. He eventually gets out of that. He then what is he
goes to a diner.
Goes to a diner, has a drink, then hears about the radio station, goes to the radio station, gets held up by cops there for a while, leaves that place.
And then goes back to the suburbs.
Yep. But first, though, he breaks down on the highway.
Well, no, he doesn't. His Sinbad, Myron, went ghetto on his car.
Oh, that's true. And drains his gas. And
and like put it on like blocks and shit. Like he went like he did like the whole 9 yards and
but he does run out of gas too. When does that happen?
That's before this.
Oh, okay, so he ran out of gas as well.
So he had to
that's right. He had to push his car manually from the bridge to a diner. So how long could that possibly have taken? Yeah, no, the whole thing doesn't make sense.
I mean, Arnold's strong, but
this is the longest day that has ever occurred on Earth.
the Earth's rotation ceased at 11 a.m. and just
there's no way.
Made several calls to home.
You know what did help though with the Earth stopping on its axis is helping Phil Hartman get in good with Liz. He got to make cookies. He got to deal with the boys. Tell him to pipe down in there like we got in the opening of the episode. He got to make hot eggnog.
Non-alcoholic.
Yeah.
Which is funny, because who would automatically assume, maybe that's, back then everyone just drank, like, who can drink this thick, viscous egg yolk on their own, without some booze in it,
Yeah, that's true. I never really think of eggnog being alcoholic. I guess maybe that's just because it's not really a thing that we've done in my family, but I know
it's a thing. Like mixing.
Yeah, people do it.
With what is it, like
rum or whiskey? But I've never done it. Like, I practically just always have it as its own straight eggnog, and light eggnog at that, because regular eggnog's like too much like a milkshake. It's way too thick.
I know I'm getting older, because the more I used to not care for eggnog, but while working at Stewart's every year, just
I like it.
Yep. I mean, I really like light eggnog. And actually this year at Stewart's they have eggnog flavored ice cream.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I like the light eggnog. I like when it gets stuck in my mustache. It reminds me of Christmas movies. Oh, it's a little eggnog in there. But no. So the day has been good to Phil Hartman's character, because he gets to hang out all day with Liz and do his little
forcefully.
That's true.
He's just over there. He's just like, kind of like, what are you doing here? You're like, oh.
Yeah. He's got it, like, in this neighborhood, he's got to be over there all the time. Is he like a stay-at-home dad? Is that what he does?
Not in that house.
Not in that house.
Unless it's his wife paying alimony.
But I'm just wondering,
ex-wife.
what he does, because he's had the opportunity to fucking go to every women's house in there and fix their pipes, fix their...
instead of Tim Allen, it should have been Phil Hartman as Tim Two-Man Taylor.
Yeah, he's the handyman around the house. Oh,
he's
the
very
neighborhood.
Oh, very handy.
Very handy. Very handy. That's my favorite, though, because Phil Hartman does do that very well as, like, the suave, sort of, also goofy neighborhood guy. He reminds me of if, like... Ned Flanders was just a little bit...
a person?
Oh. Yeah, and maybe a little bit less, like,
Christian
on the exaggerated side for, like, what Ned Flanders is. Basically, Ted is Ned, but just toned down a bit.
I would say amped up, because Ned Flanders is, nice and Christian-y.
Well, I would say sexed up for Ted.
Yeah.
For Ned, like, because Ned is sort of like a caricature of, like, your neighborhood, your too friendly neighborhood guy who happens to be super Christian. And Ted doesn't have sort of like the nerdier aspects that like Flanders has, but he also
he's nerdy.
He is.
He's nerdy, sure. But I think for the 90s that comes across as like normal, like just dad chic. Like
dad. Yeah, it's like sort of like what we have now is like, the dad bod stuff that's in things like that.
Like, those women were fawning. Yeah. Thanks, Ted, for coming over to fix my life.
Yeah.
Like
I am wondering if those women were married. They were like, at the...
Lonely.
Yeah, they're married, but
it's a South Park episode where they're like, had... So, I don't want to go down that road.
That's what I said.
Where Fred Gwynn's basically going like, back in my day, we used to have a milkman. And the man sometimes the milkman will go and fuck your wife. And the man has to decide, did he want the milkman to come around and fuck his wife and have easy access to the milk? Well, be a man and stand up for it and take him out.
Well, that's what I mean.
Don't want to go down that route.
This community, this rich person community, seems like it's pretty kinky. Seems like a good place
There's
to be.
I think the wealthier you get, the more kind of
Like, open to that lifestyle you are?
because the people are just bored. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
I've got everything. What what
You know.
else can I do? I think that must be. I'm thinking Ted is like independently wealthy, and he's just like staying at home and
taking care of his son
and then like making his rounds around the cul-de-sac, just hit every place.
I'll fix your light, and then he fixes his light, and then puts it in the pooper.
Because honestly, Ted's house is magical, right? I mean, it's super decorated. He got
His interior decoration's not good though.
yeah. Well, you never know about some people just aren't very good at interior decorating.
He looks like a man that would have the flair for it.
But the Christmas decorations look good, and he even got his own fucking independent wrapping paper for the Turbo Man. It's Turbo Man wrapping paper that houses the Turbo Man.
Got a fucking reindeer.
Yeah, he got a reindeer somehow, and then he did Howard's lights too. So this
now, how would you feel if you came home one day, like say you had to go to work, but Sarah had to stay at home.
Okay.
And you got home, and you saw that I was here.
Okay.
And you're like, the hell are you doing here? I'm like, hi, I was putting the Christmas lights up on your house. I see you haven't done it yet. Just, Merry Christmas and all.
Okay, so if you were putting up Christmas lights, I'd be like, hell yeah, thanks a lot. Because I fucking hate doing that. So yeah, thanks a lot for doing that. No, that wouldn't emasculate me in any way.
But again, knowing me, I fucking hate Christmas.
Well, true.
So
I still would have been like,
and I hate holidays. So wouldn't you be like, wait a second?
Probably not. No, I would have just been like, thanks. This is a real help.
Wouldn't it have been great if the movie Phil Hartman's like, by the way, I'm trying to stop your wife, I gave her the old ho 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 mistletoe.
And I wonder if Howard would even really care that much.
No, he was.
I guess.
No, the whole cookies thing was like, put the cookie down. Those are my cookies. That's a metaphor.
I think Howard is more about conquest, though. Conquest to get the
doll. Is that a Conan reference?
No, I mean, it's just, in general, the whole movie is not really, like, even the tow truck driver recognizes, like, this guy has no emotions. When he's giving
as you said, I think he's a psychopath.
Yeah, like, the tow truck driver recognizes when he's giving, like, rehearsing his speech that he's going to give to his wife about why he didn't get the doll and why he really fucked up, like, literally everything, the car broke down, all of that shit. He has no emotion, and tow truck driver's like, give more emotion. You need more emotion. And, like, he really doesn't care. What he cares about is winning, because he didn't get the doll, so he cares about winning over Myron. He cares about, like, just winning back his wife because it's winning, and all the selfish reasons, like, those are my cookies, I need to put the star on the tree. He doesn't actually care about the emotions that go along with them.
Of course, and that's his pussy. He's a man.
Exactly.
He's a man.
That's it. That's all he cares about. It's really not so much about, like, the whole love aspect.
I mean, to be honest with you, I'm a really competitive person too. So I mean, like, that'd be a very driving force for me too. Like,
no, I know.
Like, oh, don't you want to try? Like, no, I want to fucking win.
No, I understand. I understand where he's coming from, but it like the film
you should. I was saying you should too. You get pissed off bowling and punch the goddamn.
But the film doesn't really make it seem like he like cares about anything else besides those aspects of his life, like being selfish, winning, and that's it.
So who cares? Liz doesn't either.
True.
At the end, when he's like, I did it for you, Jamie. When she dipshitly realizes that Turbo Man is Howard, she's like, oh, Howard, like.
And apparently you said there's a few frames where she's grabbing his ass.
Yeah, when the cop comes up and is like, good job, son. And like, you see Jake Lloyd standing there. You can see in the background, like, Turbo Man's ass, and like, her hands, like, slowly going, like, what?
Oh, I didn't even catch that, but that's funny. And then, at the end, too, it's not really about, like, oh, Howard, you really came through today.
He ruined that great night of, like, tantric sex pussy pounding by, when she's like, oh, all that you did for me. Like, she's ready to go for the whole night. Like, Chris, Jake's gonna be up, Jamie's gonna be up looking for his presents, and they're gonna still be fucking. They don't care. Open the presents,
Yeah.
No, he ruined that night because she's like, you did all that. she's like already ready to take her everything off like in front of the child, and she's like, "What should you get for me?" And then we had the comedic,
the Evil Dead zoom in on Arnold's face. Yeah. Well, the thing about that is, like, Arnold could...
In which Arnold easily should have just said my dick.
Yeah, exactly.
Merry Christmas.
He's got a bow on it, and that's it.
Dick in the bunk. Instead of Phil Hartman, like...
Yeah, that's the thing, too, is that Howard is really bad at lying in general. Like, when Howard's breaking into Phil Hartman's house to steal...
The dumbass, as he's getting chased by a fucking reindeer and putting out fire, he's still holding the goddamn... Yeah,
he's terrible at this. And, like, there's a whole number of things he could have said about why he was in the house and why he was, had the Turbo Man doll. You know what he should have said? I saw a fire, I went in, I was afraid the Turbo Man doll was going to get burnt up because of the fire, so I took it and I was going to put it in a different spot, and I was trying to stamp out the fire. And that's how you found me.
And it makes sense, because Phil Hartman, the dumbass, left that fire unattended. There's no gate, nothing. Easily could have been an ember that just shot out of the fire.
And as we've seen, Phil Hartman left that fire unattended for hours.
He's been over, making cookies. And
he left it for hours.
Cursing in.
Because we know that this Christmas Eve day lasted 24 hours at least, so he's left it for a long time. I think that he could have come up with a much better excuse than, just not saying anything at all. I would have lied my way out of that one for sure. For sure. There is no way I would have just been like, yep, I was stealing it. And been like, or even just come up with like the reindeer chased me into the fucking house.
You saw you didn't like me earlier.
Yeah. The reindeer chased me into the fucking house, and that's why. And then I picked up the dog because I didn't want it to get crushed.
I don't know why. That does make me laugh when Arnold's like, good dog.
Yeah, it's just so stupid.
Because this just sounds like something that he would say, We
did talk about, too, that Arnold sucker punching the reindeer definitely would not be something that you would have in a movie, like, today. Even though it's all in, like, good fun and obviously makes it look like, oh, well, the reindeer's not that hurt, it's fine. It's just not something that would really fly.
He looks like the same miserable bastard reindeer from the Santa Claus with Blitzen.
Yeah, that's true. It probably is 2 years. It probably is the same reindeer. He's used to it.
Because it's the same gimmick with like in the Santa Claus, how when Tim Allen becomes Santa, he's like, yeah, fuck you, you're not Santa. Bah.
Yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Yeah. One thing we didn't talk about Sinbad yet.
Yeah.
You're like, yep. Sinbad is...
You know what? He's actually good.
Yeah.
Now, for those of you who are too young or drank too much in your lifetime to remember, Sinbad at one point in the mid-90s, pretty big stand-up. I mean, it was literally like...
it was, yeah.
Like a supernova, there and gone, like for 95 to 96. It was kind of a big deal. I remember another movie he was in, and I can't remember what the fuck it was called. I don't think it was Richie Rich, was it? But like there was like he was in it, and he starred in, and it was like a big thing. I think he's like he was like the kid president's like bodyguard or some shit like that.
First kid.
Yes,
that's what it is. Yeah.
And when was that?
96.
So same time. Yeah. So there was a period where he was really kind of big, which totally blows my mind because when you think about it, it's like, why wasn't Martin Lawrence doing this?
Right. There's a lot of other Eddie Murphy.
Well, I mean, especially at the time, though. Like, Martin Lawrence was huge. Stand-up comedy. Had his own TV show, Martin. That was hugely popular. I don't really remember Sinbad, I don't remember his stand-up ever. Or anything like that. Never, seen any of his... I've seen, Martin Lawrence and obviously Eddie Murphy's, stuff. So, I mean... It's kind of weird just thinking about it in retrospect.
Yeah, and Sinbad was even in 96 when this movie came out, was probably on his way out. He really didn't do much else. He basically after this he did Good Burger. And then
it was a small role.
Yeah, and it was a small role.
He was the owner of Good.
And then after that, really nothing else. He had really bit parts.
Which, by the way, Good Burger also had in it, I don't know why, Abe Vigoda.
Yeah. But I mean, Sinbad, this is it. Jingle All the Way is one of his biggest film roles. And I mean, I think he does a really good job here, though. I mean, for being comedic relief for this film, and really surprisingly not being in it that much as like sort of the villain of this film, I think he does a pretty good job.
I wouldn't even. No, he's not a villain.
I mean, he technically is. He becomes.
I mean, he's a rival, but is he a villain? No.
Well, he becomes the villain literally in the.
I know, but even still, is he?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that I would say villain, but he is the antagonist, the person that's sort of like up against Howard to try to get this Turbo Man.
And I asked you if I don't think his lines were written. I think they're literally just like improv Sinbad.
Could be.
Because again, like. I can't see someone right now in the film like have him yell Rodney King.
Yeah, that is a weird, inclusion. That probably, he probably did just shout that out.
Or this, the same things like the whole like mail bomb thing. That makes me think of like the whole like that like this had to be like right after the Oklahoma City bombings too. With Timothy McVeigh. So like we'll throw that joke in there too. And the fucking whole rant he goes on when we first meet him about. Not being good enough and his wife and just to make enough to make that goddamn alimony check. Like, that to me seems like that's just a rant of his. Like, nobody wrote that. He just, Sinbad, go. Because, that's like totally, like, what kid's gonna understand that? Like, when he's like talking about, like, and you're just trying to get a goddamn doll and make enough money to pay that bitch's alimony check.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Hey, it could be. He could have improv most of it. I don't know. I think he does a good job, though. You're right with that sicko.
That's hilarious. That's literally his best line in the whole movie, where he fakes having the bomb in the radio station, and then he does it again because he thinks that again it's not a bomb. And then you have the cop who's played by
who is the cop played by? I don't even know. Doesn't Robert Conrad, Officer Hummel.
Yeah. So when Robert Conrad's like, "Don't worry, this is I've been on the bomb squad for 10 years. This is just been all a ruse, a prank." And then the bomb goes off, and as you said, like, well, the 18 men dead.
Yeah.
No, it's slapstick comedy, so it only hurt him. No one else is fine, After the bomb goes off, you see Arnold look like, what? And then it goes to Sinbad, and he's like, it really was a bomb? This is a sick world we live in. Sick world. That always gets me. That's hilarious,
Yeah. The funny thing about this film is that it seems to just kind of pardon everything that they've done in this movie. That's like Sinbad Sinbad's going to jail. he got spending Christmas with his kid. He gets the Turbo Man doll. He's like, so I'm going to make my son's, Christmas. Thank you. Yeah, by the way, you're going to jail. Yeah, for real. I mean, Sinbad, Howard did some pretty shitty things in this film.
But he's white, so he gets off free.
True. I mean, he probably did commit some crimes as well.
He did. Sinbad he assaulted several people.
Basically, if this was a real movie, murder. Because he did, announce that it was a bomb, so they were going to hold him accountable regardless. Murder, kidnapping.
Multiple people. Again, it wouldn't just kill, went off. That whole officer squad, dead. Everyone on that floor, dead,
Yeah. The building collapsed, possibly. Yeah. Kidnapping, assault. He's going to jail. He for sure. He's not going to be spending any time on Christmas.
But he got that goddamn Turbo Man.
He got it. But he's going to jail.
Did you like that nice Barnaby Jones reference there? Again,
weird.
Super. Again, even at that time, that's wow, dated.
Yeah.
What's he gonna do? If when we see Jingle All the Way 2, Sinbad's day in court, and he calls the prosecutor Matlock. What? That's.
Yeah, it's a weird reference for sure in this film.
It's not weird because it's
yeah,
oh look at we're being so clever and fuck, it's just I don't know. I do think he chews the screen time when he's on there, but I do like him. I actually think he's not that bad here. Him and Phil Hartman are literally the two best parts.
They're the best parts.
Because I love Phil Hartman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
they're definitely the best parts of this film. They probably saved the film.
Because Arnold is characteristically Arnold Wooden.
Yeah.
Which does bring those, his great lines. And, like, put the cookie down now, So, for him, it works.
There's a lot of weird lines that Arnold is forced to deliver that just don't really, like, when he has...
Him going like, whoa!
Yeah, but when he goes into, like, the Santa Claus workshop and Jim Belushi says, like, I know what you're thinking. And he's like, you have no idea. And it's just, like, weird. Like, why would he ever say that? What do you mean you have no idea? You're literally thinking this is fucking scam.
Why is there a toy cartel
run by all Santas?
Well, I don't get it. So what do they do? Like import shitty versions of
they just
toys?
Get Spanish versions of it and broken ones that are from like the reject line on the assembly line,
and then sell
them off. Yeah.
So how is that illegal?
I mean, I guess it is illegal in a way because you're marketing that they're... But even that's... I don't know.
Well, I mean, did they steal the stuff?
Maybe. I guess that's what we're supposed to... I don't know what it's supposed to... Maybe they're muling drugs in there, too. Maybe, like, every single Turbo Man doll has, like, drugs in it.
Cocaine?
Yeah, it's just... Like,
when that arm fell off,
you do see like the head fall off, so maybe they stick the cocaine in the body of the body cavity of the Turbo Man doll.
Yeah, working for narcos,
Yeah, we don't really know why exactly they're getting busted besides it being a scam, but
that part's hilarious too. When they're like, "Who are you?" Like when they're busting everybody and they're asking Arnold, "Who are you?" And there's like a toy badge right there, and you guys like, "I'm Detective Howard Langston. I've been working on this case for 3 years, and you ruined it."
Yeah.
This is the sloppiest job ever, and it bust. Arrest someone! Like, just, yeah.
I do think that the writers were trying to, like, cater towards Arnold in a way. Like, there's a lot of scenes where they just are like, you know what, let's get this scene in here where Arnold has to do some action-y thing to, like, reference what Arnold used to do. Instead of just, like, regular comedy films and Christmas movies. Let's get, like, a nunchucks scene in here.
Again, I think that's totally to ape from Raiders.
Probably.
Because as I told you, it's literally like you got the guy going like, whoa, and then Arnold just grabs the fucking candy cane, like, fuck you, and hits him. It's literally the same thing from Raiders when the guy's doing the sword flips and shit, and Harrison Ford's like, fuck this, and just shoots the guy. It's the same thing.
It's just weird that, like, they continually add different scenes that would be, like, straight out of like a serious Arnold movie in the late 80s.
Well, they weren't serious.
Well, no.
Are you telling me Predator's a serious?
No, it's not. I mean, sort of, in a way. It's sort of serious. I mean, somewhat meant to be serious.
Okay, because when Jesse Ventura, like, you're bleeding. Got no time to bleed.
Yeah. I mean, I would say still, though, that's just the late 80s action movie way of being super cheesy. And in some ways meant to be serious.
Okay, so Predator doesn't really work because that's, kind of a...
Yeah.
It works on its own. But no, like Commando, you'd be, right. Or,
yeah, for sure.
But no, I mean... I don't think it's done, like, for the sake of, like, action. Because, I mean, it's just... Or like callbacks. I think it's just more done for slapstick. Cause that's why what's the whole point of bringing Paul White, the Giant at the time of WCW, who later is now known as the Big Show in WWF? What other reason is him to be there than to have Arnold get his ass kicked by him real quick, and also to promote WCW?
True.
Which was
promotion there,
big big time. So I mean, and then to have like again slapstick humor because a lot of this humor is based in slapstick.
Yeah.
That whole fucking parade is where, like, this movie goes off the rails in the slapstick department when it becomes a Wile E. Coyote Roadrunner cartoon.
Yeah, when, like,
with the nitrous...
Howard flies right into the wall.
And then the flag, and he's like,
Yeah. Yeah, for the most part, otherwise, the film is, somewhat grounded.
And then it just goes off.
Yeah.
But...
I don't know. That's pretty much all I've got. How about you? You got anything else to talk about? I think we pretty much covered most of it.
I just want to go a little bit more in depth on Jake Lloyd.
Okay. All right.
Fucking terrible. If he was my son, I would ship him off to, like, Somalia.
Wow.
Have the pirate, Somalian pirate, like, here you go. You got yourself a nice, Me and Liz are gonna work on something new, something beautiful.
Oh, you're saying in movie version, Howard and Liz would ship Jamie off to Somalia.
Well, I don't know.
It could be so much worse, Jamie.
I know. I mean, I don't know Jake Lloyd as a human being, so I can't rate him on that. But I mean, Graham, as I've said a billion times, most child actors are fucking terrible.
And also in movies, children in general can be very annoying. Liar Liar's kid is pretty annoying too.
No, you're absolutely right. Macaulay Culkin is pretty annoying. I mean, he's good in Home Alone, but like in the good... Actually, I lied. The Good Son, he's really good in that too.
And Home Alone, he's supposed to be annoying, so there's a little bit of a leeway there.
But he's not... I mean... I can relate more to him because
you look like him when you were a kid a little bit.
I do because I was blonde. At the time, the only thing I wouldn't relate to is the extra cheese pizza. Fuck you! It's a waste of a pizza. Get some toppings on there.
I would say like a lot of like the kids from this era were really annoying. So yeah, like we said, you had Liar Liar. You had and this would be a little bit later on, but you had like Mr. Deeds.
Was there a kid in Mr. Deeds? No, you're talking... Oh,
no, not Mr.
Big
Deeds.
Daddy.
Big Daddy.
The Sprouses would get their own Disney Channel show. You take that back.
But I'm just saying, like, in general, at this time period...
that is bad. I always think in my head to the end of the movie where like, is that the man with the old ball sack? And you're like, that child, you know.
Yeah. I think that was just a thing. But again, though, Jake Lloyd is just pretty bad in this film. When he has to deliver that whole line on the phone, when Howard's talking on the phone, you're never here, you're never around. It's just more screams like, this kid's sort of entitled, right?
You know what? If I was hard, like, haven't gone to work for a month. Hey, where's the food?
Yeah.
Oh, you want me around, son? You got me. I have no job. In fact, I can't collect unemployment because I quit my job so the state won't give me money. So you're fucked.
You want your cool Turbo Man cereal? Well, too bad. You put too much milk in it anyway.
We're getting the bag cereal. Yeah.
Yeah, the big old pound bag cereal.
The mark of poverty in the 90s. You don't got box cereal. You got the bag cereal.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah, we mistook it for dog food at first.
You don't got Chex. You got crispy hexagons.
Yeah.
That's what you got.
Yeah.
You don't know if they're corn, rice, or rot. You just got them.
But on a serious note, he put way too much milk in his cereal in this film.
I didn't even notice.
It's swimming. There's like 5 pieces of cereal swimming in milk.
I always hated seeing in movies people who put the milk first and then the cereal.
That's a broken system. You know why it's a broken system? Because how do you know how much milk you're gonna need? For one thing. But I can see it with cornflakes, because those can be a bitch pouring milk on. Because they always fling milk everywhere.
Well, there's certain cereal. I mean, I don't eat cereal to begin with anymore, but there's like certain cereal that I would never eat. Like cornflakes, Frosted Flakes, they just get soggy and they're ruined. And like, it just all becomes a lake of milk. Fruity Pebbles and Cocoa Pebbles and all that won't drink. It just sticks to the fucking side. I don't know. You're just sitting there like a fucking animal licking the side of the bowl and be like, what are you doing? Like, oh, I got Cocoa Pebbles, so you're sticking to the side of the bowl. So you can sit there and go,
yeah, I don't know what this Turbo Man cereal is supposed to be. It sort of looks like Lucky Charms, but there's just way too much milk in that bowl to make up for the lack of cereal in it. Just way too much. Didn't like that part. So because he put too much milk in his cereal, I don't like Jamie at all as a character in this film.
I will also say too, Rita Wilson playing
Liz, his wife, Howard's wife,
very terribly wooden. She's like a fucking stump. She is stumped from Angry Beavers.
Yeah, she doesn't have much reaction at all. The biggest reaction I think is when she's in the car. That and when she's in the car with Phil Hartman and
the near rape, yeah.
The joking, funny near rape that occurs there.
Just like I noticed you like me, Liz. What? Ever since I remember the Memorial Day barbecue, and you asked me what to put on that high tuna. Italian salad dressings. Who puts Italian dressing? Especially because ahi tuna is not like cheap. It's not like fucking bumblebee tuna. It's actually, like,
It's a piece of tuna.
it's actually, like tuna steak. So,
Yeah.
and you're putting fucking Italian dressing. Oh, my.
He's marinated in Italian dressing.
That-
I can't speak.
That's
for that,
white
but-
suburban crap right there. But, I mean, yeah, but she's just like, Which, again, I think this movie could have dealt with an extra 30 minutes. Because Phil Hartman is the great, lovable guy. But as you said, he's that guy that's like, I'm just nice to fuck the ladies.
You know what, though?
And we see glimpses of his shady side with him, going full-blown rapey on Liz. And then the whole, pipe down! To the kids when he actually burned his hand and he's angry and he doesn't know how to, express that he burned his hand, so he just yells at the fucking kids who are, fighting in the background. Which is a normal parent reaction. Why did his wife get divorced from him? Is that the real is that the real Phil Hartman
right there?
The bastard? Because we do, because his son does say, my dad was never like this until he got a divorce. Now he's super awesome, doing all this shit, walking around with a fucking hot silver platter of hot cocoa with fancy marshmallow and cream in the, he's got Jenny's hot cocoa from Santa Claus just walking around, giving it to everyone, the carolers.
It's a 100-year recipe.
Yeah. So, I want to know the backstory of,
I definitely...
of his darker side, of, his, little, porn S&M dungeon he's got.
Most likely. Yeah.
I want to be whipped and, beaten.
I definitely can't justify adding 30 minutes to what is now Jingle All the Way for a 2-hour film. I could see them cutting out maybe some of the him traveling to different stores, or maybe even the Santa workshop. Probably could have cut that. It's really not that big of a...
But I love hearing the Spanish Turbo Man. That's hilarious. I do like that. That's person.
It's fun.
I really would like if they cut the whole Jim Belushi part out, because he's not. He's fucking annoying as hell.
Get rid of the song.
The whole thing's annoying.
Yeah. I think that one could have been cut.
I really don't like Jim Belushi that much to begin with.
According to Jim, I'm fond of that film, that TV series.
He's just never really done anything for me.
But I think they could have cut that whole workshop scene, and it really wouldn't have made a difference. Probably would have cut it down a little bit more.
No, it wouldn't have.
To be more manageable, actually. Because that, again, we talked about it grounded in realism, except for really that scene.
It just goes that in the parade.
And then the end of it with the parade. But yeah, I think they could have cut that. But all right, let's give Jingle All the Way a rating out of 10 boosters.
I was just about to say.
Yeah. We're not going to
by the way, as I mentioned, why not? Because for the guy they have playing Booster is doing his
Jeff L. Diced,
doing his damnedest to do it the Z.
No. It's not Jeff L. Diced. Sorry, that's TV Booster. So there's got to be a different Booster.
Well, just hit Control.
I'll find it. Chain Smoking. Curtis Armstrong is the Booster that's playing.
I love that it says chain smoking
Booster. Yeah.
So they got Z-list Gilbert Gottfried. Why not get Gilbert Gottfried for the role?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because literally his voice hey, what are you doing? This is how we rehearsed it.
It is weird. And they weren't really hurting because they got Martin Mull stuff in there for random cameo parts. They weren't hurting for that sort of thing. Wow, they probably could have gotten...
Digging that name up from the Roseanne,
No, at this point it would have been probably nearly Sabrina.
Don't you love his ponytail?
Yeah. Because the real Martin Mull at that time was probably still balding, I think, right?
He's probably bald.
Probably bald, yeah.
But, no, you're right. That's digging out, oh, they got Martin Mull, but now it's who? Yeah. So, but no, seriously, they got Curtis Storm. Why not bringing Gilbert Gottfried?
True. Why not just get Gilbert Gottfried?
If that's who you were having, he'd be perfect. Squinty eyed in that fucking suit chainsaw. Who's getting that goddamn Turbo Man?
It would have been a good addition, I think.
I love Gilbert Gottfried, so. But I mean, it just blew my mind. Like, it's like, why you can't
get the other? Yeah. Get the other guy instead.
Did you blow all your money on Phil Hartman? I mean,
but out of 10 booster dolls, what would you give Jingle All the Way?
I'll give it a 6 out of 10 booster dolls. This film's better when you watch with people.
Yeah,
because then you can kind of have little jokey.
Yeah.
It's definitely not as funny watching on your own. To me, this is a movie that is something that like you is a staple of if I watch a Christmas film during the season, it is something that I constantly watch because I got this as soon as it came out on VHS. So the Christmas of '97, got it for Christmas. So it's a movie I've watched over and over. As wooden and campy as Arnold always is, I do like Arnold. He's just got such a goddamn charismatic charm. And it's unescapable. If you think about it logically, it's I shouldn't enjoy this, but it's I enjoy it. Sinbad's pretty good in here. From the other things that I remember him from, First Kid and stuff. I do remember not thinking bad of him. I did think he was kind of funny, but like I said, it's just funny to me thinking about it because I do remember how big he was during the mid-90s as a kid, but it's I don't remember thinking understanding why he was, because it's not like he was Chris Rock at the time or Eddie Murphy or Martin Lawrence. It's how the hell did he get that spot? Phil Hartman I have always had a soft spot for, especially because his SNL run is very underrated, because he was on that SNL during a time when it was in the dregs, and he was getting off of it just as it started picking up steam with Chris Farley and Adam Sandler, Chris Rock, and all of them. And he's always just such a great character actor. And I love his voice and his presence and just how he kind of carries himself about. So suave at the same time and charismatic, but so smarmy at the same time. It's kind of like what Chevy Chase wishes he could fucking do. But I think the slapstick humor, though inappropriate time, it works. It's it doesn't make me chuckle. Mm-hmm. The guy that plays the cop, I think he's funny. Outside of and Rita Wilson, she's fucking literally looks like everyone at this time, low rent Jennifer Aniston. And outside of Jamie Lloyd just being a piece of shit. I mean, it's not bad. You're right. The whole message and stuff is terrible. Get the fucking kid, the commercialized doll, and you'll be, it's all fucking stupid, contrived, and terrible, and nowhere near as deep and meaningful. Because we get the same speech in here with Sinbad about how he hated his father and stopped believing in Christmas because he didn't get that goddamn toy gun that he wanted. And it's Judge Reinhold did that better 2 years ago with his goddamn penny whistle. You're aping him. You're ripping him off. But for what it is, it's mainly the nostalgia factor for this film, I guess.
Yeah.
So 6 out of 10 boosters.
I'd probably give it a 7 out of 10. I thought it was pretty fun. It definitely is a film that you need to watch with people. It's a lot better that way. You can actually joke about it, because there's a lot of things that you can make fun of in this film. Like I said, the theme is really all over the place in here, and I don't think that it really works in terms of a feel-good Christmas movie. It really just comes down to make sure you get that gift, because everybody in your family is going to be pissed at you if you don't get it. I don't think that's really the message that they wanted to send with Jingle All the Way. But other than that, I think it's, there's fun moments. Sinbad's pretty good in this. I think that Phil Hartman is really the highlight of this, but I think Arnold does a pretty good job, even though he does have that wooden characteristic that he's really come to be known for, especially in his 80s action role films. And this is really not that different. I don't know that he's putting in a lot of effort here, but it seems like he's at least having some sort of fun. So I think you can really enjoy Jingle All the Way for that, and it's a fairly good Christmas movie because there's quite a bit of actual Christmas aspects to it. A lot of Christmas holiday songs and stuff like that. So I think it's a pretty good film. Nostalgia factor is a big part of that.
Oh, yeah, I forgot to say, got to hear the Heartbreakers Christmas all over again.
That's true. You do get to hear that.
So that to me is
you also get
to see
Howard use both a payphone and a phone book. So that's also a highlight of things gone by.
Yeah, and you do get to see Phil Hartman use a corded phone.
Yep.
That's why he can't talk too long. He's gotta get to the oven. Can't reach over.
Yep. So
Lost relics.
good highlights from the 90s. That's for sure. No good sweaters like Judge Reinhold's though.
Oh God, no.
No, it's definitely missing that. Whatever they aped from the Santa Claus, they missed that. So, all right. So next week, for our Festivus series, we're doing Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4, right?
Sure.
I think that's what you said you wanted to do. Makes sense. We'll break up some of the more general Christmas movies with the horror Christmas movies. Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4 is one that I've never seen. I hadn't made it past Part 2, actually. So last year's Part 3 that we did, which was atrocious, and Part 4 and 5 are ones that I've never actually watched. So
all I know is there'll be thunder and lightning.
I actually think that Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4 gets back to the Christmas aspect that was really missing in Silent Night, Deadly Night 3.
I can't even remember a goddamn thing from the third one.
I can't really either. There's something about a psychologist and woman that's going crazy. I really don't remember much of that either.
I remember leprechaun-y.
It is awful. I remember it being terrible.
No, I know that too, but I was thinking about when we were talking about Christmas drinking games to do this year because we're not doing it with the cranks.
Yeah.
And I put on their Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 1. We should just do Part 2. It's the best of both worlds.
That's true.
Because it's
I don't think you get the warm side of the door.
No,
though,
you don't.
So it's not in there.
No, but I would just
That's
have
tough.
that. I would buy a 45 of it. I'll find it somewhere in a 45, and I'll just play that on a loop on a record player the entire time. And
well, Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 2 is actually coming out very soon from Scream Factory on Blu-ray. So
Garbage Day.
Garbage Day. It actually is getting a Ricky little figurine as well. So, all right. So we will be back next week with another episode in the Festivus series. So we hope you'll join us for that. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, Podbean, pretty much anything else that you can get a podcast on. We're on it. Please subscribe to us and leave us a nice review. We're on Facebook at facebook.com/Blood and Black Rum Podcast. We have a Twitter at Blood and Black Rum. We have an email address, bloodandblackrumpodcast@gmail.com. And we also have a Patreon page if you want to donate to us and help us with the cost of our podcasting and hosting. You can find us at bloodandblackrumpodcast.podbean.com. And there's a little Patreon area where you can donate to us. Just $1 a month gets you an episode, all of our episodes early. So keep that in mind and consideration, and we appreciate anything you can donate to us. We'll see you back next week for Silent Night, Deadly Night Part 4, and we hope you have a great holiday season.
Take care.